Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something a little different this time, a novella that's been making waves. Abby Jimenez's The Situationship.
Yeah, lots of buzz around this one. We're going to figure out if it lives up to the hype.
Exactly, especially for listeners like you who, are looking for something a little more mature.
Right, like beyond just the star ratings, what's the real story here?
So let's set the stage. What's The Situationship all about?
So picture this. A woman accidentally sends, a kind of spicy text, meant for her grandma, ends up going to a total stranger.
Oh, wow. That's got to be awkward.
Yeah, big time. The stranger's name is Doug, and this whole mix-up, it kind of snowballs into a fake relationship.
A fake relationship, okay. Why?
Well, Doug's got this bet he needs to win, and of course there's going to be some romantic tension along the way.
So, unique premise. Sounds like there's some humor in there. What are people saying about it?
Lots of love for the characters, especially Doug. Like, Doug and Maddy are so cute, some even want a Doug spinoff.
I've seen those comments too. People are really into this Doug character.
He's definitely got something, but it's not all just laughs. A lot of reviewers mention the emotional depth, like, I laughed and cried. So Jimenez seems to balance the fun with some real feels.
Interesting. That mix of humor and, heart seems to be a theme. Some even call it a perfect summer read, light and enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. Like a good escape.
Now, not everyone's been completely over the moon. Some found it a bit too short.
That's the thing with novellas. You get a quick read, but it means the story is condensed, right? Some people are left wanting more, especially when they love the characters.
Right. A shorter format can be good or bad, depending on what you're looking for.
Exactly. And there's been some talk about the plot being maybe a little predictable, relies on some familiar romance tropes.
That's interesting. Predictability can be comforting for some readers, but others might want more surprises.
Yeah, depends what you're looking for. Some people love those classic romance elements.
So for those of us who like a bit more depth, complexity, does The Situationship deliver on that front?
Well, you got to remember it's a novella. So it plays to those strengths, fast-paced plot, focus on the romance, and a satisfying ending all in a shorter time frame.
So maybe not the best choice if you're looking for a super complex storyline.
Maybe not. But it doesn't mean it's not a good read. It's charming, funny, and the romance is heartwarming.
Okay, so more of a delightful escape than a deep dive into, heavy emotions.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Different books, different purposes, right?
Church?
This one's great for a fun, light read with a sweet romance.
All right, shifting gears a bit. For our listeners who enjoy, let's say, a bit of spice in their reading, will this novella satisfy?
Oh, Jimenez doesn't shy away from those scenes. There's definitely some heat, but it's done in a mature way, focuses on the emotional connection, not just the physical stuff.
So it's not just about the steam, it's about a real relationship.
Exactly. And the characters are in their late 20s, early 30s, so their experiences, their perspectives, they've got a maturity to them that I think a lot of our listeners will appreciate.
That makes sense. So for our mature listeners, The Situationship seems to offer a good balance of spice, heart, and humor, all within a mature context.
Yeah, I'd say so. It delivers on those things without feeling, juvenile. It hits that balance that I think will appeal to a lot of people.
Okay, cool. Now, a lot of the reviews mention how fast-paced and engaging this story is.
Oh, definitely. The pacing is great. Jimenez pulls you right in and keeps you hooked.
A real page-turner, then. Perfect for those times when you want to lose yourself in a story without a huge time commitment.
Exactly. You could easily devour this in one sitting.
We've talked about the humor, the heart, but what about the writing itself? How would you describe Jimenez's style?
Witty, engaging, really readable. The characters feel real, the dialogue is fun and authentic, and she just writes these scenes that are both heartwarming and hilarious.
So the writing itself adds to the enjoyment of the story.
Totally. It's a big part of why the novella works so well. You really feel like you're part of the story, experiencing it alongside the characters.
Now, can't ignore the elephant in the room, the novella's length. A lot of people wished it was longer. They wanted more Doug and Maddy. What are your thoughts on that?
It shows how well Jimenez writes characters, right? People want more of them. The novella format, it's limiting in a way, but it also lets her tell a focused, fast-paced story that's perfect for a quick, satisfying read.
A bit of a trade-off, then. You get a concentrated dose of the good stuff, but you might be left wanting more.
Yeah, exactly. But that means it leaves a strong impression.
Okay, so before we move on, let's talk directly to our listeners. You're looking for an honest take, right? Is this book worth your time?
Based on everything we've seen, the reviews, the overall buzz, I think it's a great choice for anyone who enjoys a lighthearted, mature romance with a good dose of humor.
Exactly. A quick, enjoyable escape doesn't require a huge commitment, but still delivers a satisfying experience.
And hey, if you're curious and want to try the Situationship, we've got a great deal for you. Use the link in the description to sign up for Audible's 30-day free trial. You get a free audiobook, so you can listen to this charming novella without spending a dime.
And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the Situationship. We love hearing your thoughts and getting those discussions going.
One thing that might be interesting, especially for, mature listeners, is how the Situationship connects to some of Jimenez's other books.
Oh, really? Like a shared universe or something?
It's subtle, but it's there. There's this bonus chapter that ties right into her novel, Part of Your World. And both stories, they're set in the same town as The Summer I Turned Pretty.
So for readers who know those other books, it's like a little bonus, seeing those familiar places and faces.
Exactly. Adds a fun little layer if you're already a fan.
But what about people who haven't read those other stories? Will they feel lost?
Not at all. The Situationship, it works perfectly fine on its own. Those connections, they're just extras, you know? They're not crucial to the main plot.
That's good to know. So whether you're a diehard Abby Jimenez fan or just discovering her, you're good to go with the Situationship.
Exactly. It's a complete experience either way. She does a great job of creating those connections without leaving new readers behind.
Now back to that demand for more Doug and Maddy. What is it about them that's resonating so strongly?
The chemistry, for sure. Jimenez, she knows how to write characters that just click, and Doug and Maddy are a perfect example. Their banter is so witty, you can feel the connection, and they've both got such strong personalities, makes them relatable and, well, just really likable.
Sounds like she's found a winning combination with them.
Definitely. Makes you wonder if we might see a full-length novel with them someday.
Now that would be interesting, seeing their relationship develop beyond this novella.
Something to think about, right? Maybe if enough people ask for it, Jimenez will give it to us.
Fingers crossed. As we wrap things up, one thought for our listeners. A lot of the reviews describe this Situationship as a feel-good, heartwarming kind of read. And in a world that can be pretty chaotic, stories like that can be a nice escape.
Definitely, especially for those of us who've, been around the block a few times, right? It's a reminder that love and connection, they're powerful things.
Like a warm hug in book form.
Exactly. Sometimes that's what you need, a story that reminds you of the good in the world and leaves you feeling, a little bit hopeful.
So it seems like this Situationship hits that sweet spot. Lighthearted, heartwarming, engaging. It might not be super deep or tackle big issues, but it offers a satisfying emotional experience, the kind that leaves you feeling good.
And for anyone who likes a little spice, a little humor in their romance, the Situationship definitely delivers on that. It's a well-rounded, enjoyable read, perfect for when you want a quick escape.
And remember, if you're ready to meet Doug and Maddy, check out that link in the episode description. Special offer from Audible, free trial, free audiobook. You can dive into the Situationship without spending anything.
Perfect chance to see what all the buzz is about.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the Situationship. Would you give it a try? What parts of the story intrigue you? We love hearing your thoughts, getting those conversations started.
Now, before we finish up completely, there's one last thing I wanted to touch on. Adds another layer to the Situationship,
Ooh, I'm curious. What is it?
Well, a lot of reviewers mentioned the theme of second chances that runs through the story.
That's interesting. How so?
Both Doug and Maddy, they're carrying baggage from their pasts, right? Experiences that have shaped how they view love and relationships. And the Situationship, even though it's lighthearted, it explores that idea of giving love another shot, opening yourself up again, even after being hurt.
I see. So there's a deeper message under the surface about healing and growth.
Exactly. And that message, it might resonate especially with listeners who have, gone through their own heartbreaks, learned those tough lessons along the way.
It adds another dimension to the story. Even within a lighthearted romance, there's room to explore those universal themes.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes the Situationship so compelling. It blends those light and serious elements, the humor and the heart, in a way that's both entertaining and, it makes you think a bit. We talked about those connections to Jimenez's other books, and it's really interesting how she weaves them in. Like, you've got that bonus chapter that links to part of your world, and then both of those stories, they happen in the same town as The Summer I Turned Pretty.
It's like a little secret universe for readers who are already familiar with her work.
Exactly. It's like finding those hidden Easter eggs, recognizing familiar faces and places, as a whole other level of enjoyment.
Right, a little reward for loyal fans. But for someone who's just discovering Abby Jimenez, is the Situationship still a good starting point?
Oh, absolutely. It's a complete story on its own. Those connections, they're just bonus features. They're not necessary to understand the main plot.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So no matter where you are in your Abby Jimenez journey, you're good to go with the Situationship.
Yep, it's a win-win. You get a great story, and maybe it'll even make you want to check out her other books. Jimenez is clever like that. She pulls you into her world.
Speaking of being pulled in, we've got to talk about that demand for more Doug and Maddy. What is it about them that people love so much? What do you think?
Maybe it's how they push each other to be better, but at the same time, they accept each other, flaws and all. It's refreshing to see a romance where the characters aren't perfect.
Right, it's more relatable that way. Like a real couple.
Exactly. Makes you wonder what would happen to them if the story kept going. New challenges? Would their love survive? Those are the kinds of questions that stick with you after you finish the book.
And who knows, maybe Jimenez will give us more someday. A full-length Doug and Maddy novel, that would be amazing.
We can dream. But for now, we've got The Situationship. And it's a great little glimpse into their world, a reminder that sometimes the best relationships come from the most unexpected places.
Well said. It seems like this novella really checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Humor, heart, a little spice, and even some food for thought.
Definitely. Whether you're looking for a quick escape or a story that reminds you about second chances and the power of connection, The Situationship delivers.
And before we officially wrap up, one last reminder. If you're ready to jump into Doug and Maddy's world, check out the link in the episode description. We've got a special offer from Audible. Free trial, free audiobook. You can experience The Situationship without spending a dime.
It's a great opportunity to see what all the hype is about.
And of course, we always love hearing from you. Leave a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on The Situationship. Would you give it a try? What stood out to you? We love those discussions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, happy reading.